Hello there, and welcome back to Szpakowo. So overnight our 30 cows reached their selling age and they were automatically sold off, so we gained I think around 45,000 euros from that, so we have a nice healthy balance now. You can see there's still plenty of snow on the floor. I don't think I've seen this much snow in Szpakowo in our playthrough so far. There is quite a lot here. If we go over here, there's definitely a thick layer on the ground. It doesn't usually get that deep. So hopefully that's going to clear away at some point. I just noticed that our interactive zone markers are still switched on, so let's switch those off. So yeah, I'm hoping that melts at some point this month. Let's take a look at the weather to see what's happening. It's going to be fairly warm this month, so hopefully at some point that will melt the snow. Let's take a look in our cow barn. So we have 30 cows now that are just 2 months old. I'm going to be keeping them for a considerable amount of time, I think. It makes sense to keep them until they grow up a little bit. Don't think we need them for future levels of VIP order. The next level needs Angus and Limousin cows. We don't need any new ones until level 7. I don't imagine us getting to level 7 in the time that it will take for these ones to reach 28 months old. So what I'll probably do with them is just keep them until we complete level 4 or something like that. In the meantime, they can be producing milk for our dairy, and then when we get to level 5, we will probably need to get rid of them to get some Angus and Limousin cows. Unless, of course, we are able to expand our operation by then enough to purchase a bigger cow barn, maybe with some kind of outdoor pasture. So, what's on the cards for March for our farm? Well, we're going to buy this new plot of land with the money we got from the cows. So it is plot 124 over here. You can see not all of it's field, so we're going to need to do some work to convert this area into an actual field. But that's okay. And then I don't think I'm going to bother mowing the grass. We've got enough grass in our own field over there. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. Let's take a look at the growth. It is ready to be mowed, but I'm not going to do that. So what we will be planting in there is probably wheat. Yeah, we'll keep this field for sorghum. We'll put wheat in here for our grain mill. So let's take a look at our crop calendar. Sorghum is next month, so that's good. So wheat is this month. Okay, so that changes a few things then. And actually, I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking. The original idea was to plant sorghum for the horses, but the horses, they're not eating that much food. And so I think the oats that they have, it's going to last them over a year because we put around 12,000 litres in there and they have 11,300 left after 4 months. So that base food is going to last them for the foreseeable future, even the long-term future. So actually, we don't need to plant wheat this year because our sorghum, when we plant that can all go into our grain mill. And then we have this field to plant whatever we want. So what else do we have? If we look at our VIP orders, we have potatoes and sugar beet. Now, both of these require specialist harvesting equipment, but it would be nice to be able to plant at least one of those. So let's take a look at what we are going to need. Harvester is going to be pretty expensive, so 200,000 euros. I think I'm going to have to break our rule of not renting equipment to get this done. I'm trying to think what else we might be able to plant. Let's take a look at the crop calendar. I don't want to break the rule, but at the same time we do need to make some progress at some point. Okay, here's what I'm going to do for this year. We're going to be planting sorghum in this middle field here, and we're going to plant sunflowers in this new field that we're about to purchase. And the reason for that is that I'm going to be building an oil mill later on in the year once we have some money, and we're going to be using the sunflowers to make sunflower oil. I think that makes sense. It sells for a pretty decent profit, and I think that will be a good way to build up our income in preparation for trying to save some money towards the more expensive equipment so that we can plant sugar beets and potatoes. So sorghum in 125, sunflowers in 124. So with that said, let's buy field 124. 79 788, that is now our field. And what we need to do first of all is convert all of this into a field. Now what I was also thinking about was buying this little tiny plot over here. So this little plot has the carpentry in it. And so there's something I realized when I was exploring this plot in between episodes, is that the carpentry that was a part of the VIP order doesn't have a trigger point until you buy it, and then you can actually use it for your wood. However, I feel like if we buy this plot 9264, we should keep it for our own furniture, and we should start doing some deadwood contracts and start making our own furniture with it. I think that would be a really good way to build up our money. So yes, I'm going to buy this as well. Let's see, and now we have a trigger point for the carpentry, which we can use. So if we go down to our productions now, we have the carpentry here. So we can put in 10 wood for 17 furniture, and we can start producing furniture. So yeah, with that said, let's get to work. So first of all, let's go over to this field, pay a little visit and see what's going on over here. I think the first thing we're going to need to do is convert the top area of this plot into field. So to start doing that, we're going to have to chop these trees down, which is absolutely perfect for the new carpentry we've just purchased. So I'll continue with some of this and I will come back to you once we make some progress. Okay, so chopping these trees down definitely isn't as easy as chopping the deadwood trees down. So what I think might be easier is actually just grabbing them in the log fork of the tractor and delivering them directly to the carpentry. Let's take a look to see if that works. Here's the first one here. Yeah, okay, so I found a slight bug with one of the mods I am using. It's the screenshot mod. Whenever I take a screenshot, it sets the weather on the farm permanently to whatever it was in the screenshot, and the default weather in the screenshot is sun. So yeah, all the snow's suddenly disappeared. However, that actually really helps us. So let's get this log dumped into the carpentry, and then we'll get the rest of these in the sell point, and we'll get them dropped off as well. So we have 3,487 litres from those two trees. Let's jump into the menus and let's start up the production of furniture from wood. There we go, we're producing furniture now. So that should actually bring us in a reasonable amount of money. So if we got 120 cycles per month, that's going to be 1,200 wood per month, and that's going to produce 1,700 furniture. And if we look at furniture, So the max price is 3861 in July. So that'll be some nice mid-year income for us. Okay, let's jump back in the tractor, and I think what I'm going to do, like I said, is not worry about the trailer, but I'm just going to cut the trees down individually, bring them over here in the log fork, and not worry too much about stripping them. Once we've got the trees cut down, we can rent a stump grinder to clear the stumps, and then we can convert the field. Then we can convert the land into a field. So let's switch off the tractor. I'm just trying to think how far over we want to go. I think we'll probably chop this tree down, and we do this one, or should we leave this one here? We might leave that one in place. I still want it to look somewhat like a farm and not just a whole field. So yeah, we'll chop this one down. How big is this? So that's 13.4 meter oak tree. Okay, so that's that one chopped. And I'm pretty sure that fell directly on our tractor, but you didn't see that, right? No, I didn't see that. Alright, let's get it stripped best we can. Actually, if it's going in our if it's going in our carpentry, it doesn't need to be stripped, does it? It doesn't really matter because we're not selling it. So let's get this one taken over. There we go. Looks ridiculous, but hey. This is why it's a game and not real life. Let's get this over to the carpentry. I'll get this one dumped in there as well. There we go. So that's an extra 3,000 litres in there. Perfect. Okay. So that's those ones done. And now we just need to do... Let's see, we're going to take... I think I might leave these ones at the top here. And then just take these three that you can see, and then those smaller ones over there. So let's get them all chopped down, and then we'll go around and pick them up after. So we've chopped down all of the trees, we've moved all of the heavy trees into the... What's this one? Oh, apart from that one. We've moved all of the heavy trees, apart from one, into the carpentry with the tractor. And there's just these few left that I need to remove. So, okay, that's just a twig. So this one needs to be done with the tractor. There's a little branch over here, and it literally weighs a couple of kilos, but I just need to get it off the field. So let's pick this up. We'll get this on the back of the trailer here that just looks like a big bush at this point. There we go. And then we'll jump back in the tractor. We'll secure all that in place. And then we'll just remove that one big tree into the carpentry, and I think there's a little branch underneath it that we need to move manually. Once we've done that, we'll head over to the store. We'll rent the stone picker and the stump grinder, because we'll need both of those to continue working on the field. And then we'll have to turn this into a field and then get it limed, fertilized or limed, and ready for the crop to go in it. Let's just put this last branch on the back of the trailer here, and I believe that's all the trees. So let's get this over to the carpentry and we'll get all of this stuff transferred, and then we can continue with stump grinding and stone picking. Once I've dumped this into the carpentry, I will do a quick check just to see how much wood is now in the carpentry ready to be processed. It's all of that, so we've got 13,147 litres, and then there's that log there. So let's start up the tractor. We'll get this trailer moved out of the way, and then hopefully we can pick up that log, because that'll be a nice extra 2,000 litres or so that we can create furniture from. Let's get this dumped in the trigger as well, and that can go also towards our log production, our furniture production. So 13,138, an extra 500 litres right there. So there we go. We've already got 170 litres of furniture. So we'll just let that carry on and do its thing. And in the meantime, we'll get this trailer back over to our main farm. And we'll get over to the store and rent the stone picker and the stump grinder. Okay, so we have our stone picker on the tractor. I sent it back to the field on an AI worker, and we have our little weird skid steer here with the stump grinder attached. So what I think I'm going to do is grind the stumps, and then I'll convert the top part of that plot into field, and then I will pick up the stones. So I will get that taken care of, and I will see you in a bit. Okay, so I think that is all the tree stumps cut down. Let me just zoom out and see if I can see any more before I send the grinder back, because I don't want to have to rent it again once I've taken it back. I think that was everything. Whoa. These skid steers are funny to steer. They skid when they're steering, one could say. Yeah, I think that's all of the stumps cut down. So let's switch that off and let's send that back because we don't need it anymore. So then let's jump back in our tractor now. We probably should convert the rest of this into field, shouldn't we? Let's go get the cultivator and I will work on creating that upper part of the plot into field, and then I will get the stones removed afterwards. So I will see you in a bit. so that is the upper part of this plot turned into field, and the rest of the field cultivated to take our sunflowers. Now I believe the sunflowers are planted next month, but I will double check that. And so obviously I had to cultivate the field because our planter for sunflowers is not direct drill. Next thing I want to do is just jump into the build menu quickly, and I want to see if I can smooth out some of this land up here just to make it a little more field-like. So I hope this doesn't turn this back into a non-field, but let's see. Oh no, there we go. We can smooth all of this out. It's costing me quite a bit of money, but I think it's okay. It's probably worth it. And I think it's just this bit here that needed doing. Yeah, I think that looks a little better. Maybe some more here would be good. Yeah, I think that's good. And then a little bit up here. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. There's a little bit of a bump and a lump here. Get rid of that. Okay, and then the next thing I wanted to do was go over the top part of that field with the stone picker, but let's take a look at the crop calendar, and sunflowers can be planted this month, so that's going to be our next two tasks. So let's take our cultivator back over to the main farm, and we'll bring the planter back over here, and then we'll pick up the stones, plant the sunflowers, and then roll the field. I think that should keep us busy for the remainder of March. So I will continue on with that, and I'll be back with you in a bit. Okay, so we're just doing the final pass of the sunflower seeding, and we managed to do about half of the field with the fertilizer that was left in the planter, and next month we'll have to go over the rest of the field with the sprayer just to make sure it's all fully fertilized. Next up, we're going to need to roll this field. I think it's probably going to need rolling. I will double check that. One thing I do have to point out is that I am so glad we upgraded our planter, because that took probably 50% less time than it would have with the old one. It's a much faster speed and 50% more working width. So yeah, I would say probably took half the time overall than the old 3-meter planter would have done. Okay, so let's reposition our liquid tanker. Now, we're running low on funds, so I'm thinking that once we've rolled the field, we either do a contract or we sell our excess milk. So let's first of all make sure our greenhouse is full. It is. Let's take a look to see if we're going to do a contract or if we are going to sell our milk. So how's our milk doing? So down here, 1259, 1373. So we could offload all of our milk. That will get us a nice 23,000. There'll be a couple of runs to the store and back, and that will, yeah, I think that will help a great deal. Let's take a look at contracts, just if there's anything quick and easy we might be able to do. Could do lime over there. I'm kind of at this point rather just sell our product, but let's take a look through. Yeah, there's nothing else I really want to take care of. Quick look at our carpentry production. We've got almost half a pallet of furniture, which is fantastic, and we haven't used that much wood. So I'm interested to see how much we get of that come next month. Okay, so I don't know where I'm going to be able to offload this water. Okay, I'm going to leave the tank there. I'm going to have to try and figure that out because I'm not going to be able to sell the milk unless we are able to dump that water somewhere. So that's something I'm going to have to consider. But we'll do the rolling first of all, and we'll think about that afterwards. If we're not able to figure it out, then we will have to do a contract to get ourselves some money. So we've got our roller here. And we'll go over to this field again, and I will take care of the rolling and come back to you soon. See you in a bit. Okay, so that is all of our milk sold off. That milk is really turning out to be a lifesaver. It gave us a nice cash injection when we needed it before, and it's also given us a nice cash injection this time around. So we got a nice 18,000 there, more than we would be able to get from any reasonable or even large contract really. And the cows, yeah, they require a little bit of effort in mowing the grass and creating TMR, but they're quite low maintenance once you've got them up and running. So yeah, that's been a very good additional income for us. I don't think we're going to be getting any additional milk for a few months because our adult cows have now been sold, and the calves, I think they start producing milk at 6 months old. So yeah, we're a few months without milk, but that's okay. We have our furniture in July, which will hopefully provide us a decent amount of income, and then we have our products at the end of the year. So while we're filling up with fuel, let's take a look. So yeah, our cows are only 2 months old right now, so they will, I think they start producing milk when they are 6 months old. I actually don't remember. Anyways, those are going to be producing milk at some point this year. I don't think we've got anything left to do in March. I think all of our field prep that can be done this month has been done. So I think this is a great place to leave this episode. So thank you so much for watching, as always. Hope you're enjoying following along. If you are, of course, please do give the video a like and consider subscribing to the channel. And I will hopefully see you in the next episode. Until then, bye for now.